to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kira's show here. Now then, before we begin, I am probably going to be posting, I believe I can actually finish this video, if not this series, in only a couple more videos, because I actually did have a bit of ideas floating around in my head for what to do next, so I believe it will be perfect. Now, let us begin. When we last left off, Deku and some of his allies, they had just killed their way into the Yaoyorozu estate, taking Momo's urn with her ashes. Now, with that, Deku, he's watching all this. He's basically just thinking about what they should do next. If basically Toga puts her back together wrong, this could actually fail. But if she gets put back together correctly, it's also very good. So he would actually just have Toga hold off on the blood, actually somewhat changing his plan, giving the blood to the doctor to try and figure out a good way to replicate Overhaul's quirk, along with the fact that he would give up some of his own blood, saying that at least create somewhat of a prototype for this type of bullet. Basically, at least enough to show the progress on it. The doctor would basically explain that he's not doing that, but after all, would just basically tell him that at least pretending like they have, somewhat acting like they essentially have information on this, along with the fact that actually having these types of bullets can basically get through hardening quirks, actually, is not so far-fetched, along with if they were to arm Deku's men with them. So, they should just do it. Now, the doctor would get to work on it, and I do want to say that the doctor, they'd be very skilled in their art, or the way they would use their quirk to do medical research, so I want to say he'd probably start producing results very fast. Now, with that, Deku, he would basically take this urn to Overhaul. Overhaul's confused at this favor Deku's asking him. I need you to do one thing for me. You said you can take apart matter and put it back together. My ally, Kirishima, he said that during his fight, that whenever they won, Rappa said that he's been trying to take you down for quite a while. Not just that you also took him apart and put him back together. Dead, then brought back. Can you do that for anyone? I can, but it's not going to be that simple. Well, how about a simple pile of dust? Simple. That could take a bit more effort. What would you need? Well, I would need parts. I can't create matter. I need to use what's already existing. I see. I will get to work on that. Now, Deku, he would basically get to work collecting matter. What I mean by that is he'd basically be going out, taking out random civilians or any pros that he could find outside the building. If not, he'd just be teleported back into Hosu City, where the villain's hideout is, taking civilians from there and bringing them back to the portal. Kirigiri is still confused by this, as Deku would go over explaining he has exactly what he has. He would basically off the civilians or the heroes and toss them into a pit. Overhaul would reanimate and basically go through the processes of actually using and bringing Momo back to life. Now, as soon as she gets brought back, she immediately jumps up screaming, as she would bring her hand up. As soon as she does so, she immediately looks at it as she's staring at this thing. She can feel everything. She can put her hands in a fist and feel her fingers crack. Now, she's actually almost hysterical by this. What? How? I'm alive? Yes, you are. As she turns her head and she would see this image. If not, this image actually. I like this one a lot better. You're back. She would immediately jump up going to create something, and as soon as she does so, Deku would immediately just blitz her, grabbing her by the throat and telling her, I can kill you again, but I brought you back for one singular purpose. Do you want a reason to live? To deserve it? Because as far as everyone knows, you're still dead. The entire world went on without you. Do you want to see what that was like? As Deku, he would also do one thing. He would immediately pull Momo's face close to him, as he would immediately just erase her quirk for the next 24 hours. Momo was confused at what just happened. Deku would just let her go and say, now, come on. She tries to think of a plan out as she tries to use her quirk, finding she can't even activate it. What did you just do to me? Eraserhead's quirk and Sir Night Ice. I've gotten a lot stronger since you last saw me. In fact, I do believe, as Deku would immediately blitz her. You didn't see this last time. Momo was horrified at this. You can't not be serious. Endeavor can stop you. Endeavor's dead, sweetheart. In fact, a lot of pros are dead. I think, Best Genus, All Might, Endeavor. I believe Hawk's the number one hero now. Along with that Edgeblade guy being the number 2 now. Anyways, you're coming with us. As Deku, he would just start walking. Momo, she would just start following Deku as she has no other choice. She's just looking around, confused as to where she even is. Now, this is whenever a portal would open up and Deku would just walk through it. Momo does hesitantly, as whenever she comes through, she sees the League of Villains. They're somewhat confused and concerned, as Deku would just hold up his hand. Now, afterwards, he explained to Kirigiri that she essentially is not ready yet. His plan will work, it's just complicated. Kirigiri doesn't understand, but he would just say, fine, she needs to be ready at least soon. Got it. As Deku, he would immediately just step through the portal once again, and they would be at Deku's base. She's confused as she would watch as she sees Mina just running around, benching, and actually fighting some of the quirkless men. Now, what I mean by benching is she basically would pick them up and throw them around. Basically, they would all train, and this is her just not using any of her quirks. Now, Mina would immediately turn her head as she would see Momo behind Deku. She immediately turns on full cowling as she goes to blitz, but Deku would just bring his hand up. She's confused, and this is whenever Momo, she's disgusted, saying, can't believe it. What happened to you two? People, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's disgusting. You two always seemed like the best of friends, but you were just a couple of villains? No, actually. As Mina would just grab Deku and pull him into a kiss, staring at Momo as she does. We are villains. Actually, we're some of the top runners in the city. Along with the fact that we've at least killed, 40, 50,000 people. I believe it's actually 100, well, nearly 200,000 people. You guys have killed so many. Oh no, that's just the last week. Mama was completely just stunned. Yeah, Aldrin and the city nearby, by the sea, I believe. I believe your family was staying there. Oh, such a shame. Although you might have gotten lucky. Now, as she's saying this, Kirishima would immediately walk in, trying to talk with Deku. As that happens, he would basically look up as he immediately just drops what he's holding. Momo? She would immediately just run over, asking him for help. As he would just look at her and just tell her that that's not going to happen. So why is she back? She immediately just looks stunned. The guy who has a chivalrous heart just broke his own code in her head. Now, Shinjo would actually walk in. As he would see her, he would immediately start blasting his way towards her. She's basically about to go into cardiac arrest, as that is Bakugo's quirk. After a little while, they would explain what's going on. Now, with that, Deku would just say, he feels like killing her was a bit too easy. So, he wants to offer her one thing most people literally die for and never get. A second chance. You can help us take down Overhaul. That guy who brought me back? Yes, actually. We need your quirk to do so. And harvesting it from a pile of ashes is not easy. But we would basically have to kill you once again just to be able to get access to it. And I'm really not looking forward to doing that. So we just need your help. Then what? I can go free? No. Then we let you stay. You're now family, whether you like it or not. I believe you should learn up on some of these. As he basically just slammed down a book of firearms. Everything you need to know for dummies. Now, with that, Deku, he immediately just would walk over to Toga and actually ask her more questions about what's going on with her quirk. And essentially how much she can copy up to. Now, with that, this is whenever Deku would pull Kirishima aside, saying that if they are going to be taking out both of these two, All for One and, well, Overhaul, they need him to be a little bit stronger. So, what do you have in mind? Well, I'm already pushing it with 3 quirks, if not basically 6 or 5. A little hard to keep track now. But, well, I want to know, Tokoyami's quirk, did that ever look interesting to you? Kirishima immediately just freezes as he realizes what Deku's talking about. You want me to take his quirk? Well, yes, actually. Won't I turn into a bird guy? No, that's only the physical mutation behind it. I mean, your Dark Shadow might still look like a bird, but you might get lucky. Okay. Shit. Well, I know from... He was one of the... Let's see, Froppy. She's dead. Okay. Kendo. I believe the girl from class 1B. Uraka, I'm surprised that she's still alive. Tokoyami. And who else? Toru? She's dead. Set on fire. Momo would immediately just break their concentration, saying, "Set on fire? What did you do to them? Why does he have Bakugo's quirk?" Shut up. No, you can't just. As she would immediately stop. Listen, we can explain everything to you, or we could show it to you. Which would you rather have? Now, just shut up and listen, please. As he would unbrainwash her. She would just say she'd rather see everything as they would walk upstairs and they would begin showing her everything that's been happening. Along with the live feed, which basically cuts after Kirishima tosses the flare, and as soon as it leaves his hand, that's where the video cuts. Now with that, Momo, she's basically devastated. Along with hearing that Froppy's dead, and quite a bit of people have been killed. Now then, this is whenever Mr. Shigaraki would walk in and he would immediately he would basically just do one thing. Whenever he's walking past her, he's messing around with whatever's in his hands and he would just immediately he basically split into half and then reform behind her. Basically walking through her. She's confused as she just looks at that guy and Deku would just say, well, Shell. He's what's left of Mr. Shigaraki. Who? The Decay hero who was my mentor. Okay. Can you give me one moment? Yeah, sure. Just take your time. As Momo. Now, one thing that I do see happening is Momo would quite literally she would want to basically cry or basically just punch Deku in the face. But I could see her just calmly walking over to the wall and just throwing as many punches into it as she can. Until basically she's being held back. Now, with that being said, Deku, he would immediately just start by winding up his hands as he just makes tornadoes. He would immediately put them underneath his feet as he would immediately just instruct Kirishima to grab on. Kirishima would just latch his hair around Deku's arm, as Deku would quite simply just get into a running start. As soon as that happens, Deku would basically just pull Kirishima onto his back, basically somewhat tying him there with his hair, and he would immediately just take off running. Momo was confused at all that. How long was I dead for? 3 months, I think. Oh, my God. I think it's closer to 2.5, probably. Not sure. We'll have to check that. Anyways, as Deku and Kirishima, they would immediately just get brought to the top of a building. As soon as that happens, Deku would just undo Kirishima's hair thing, and they begin walking around. Deku's been getting somewhat of information from a person he has keeping tabs on Tokuyami. He's supposed to be at this location today. In fact, he was actually expecting someone here. Now, with that, he would basically be standing there. Deku's immediately just thinking of a way to get Tokuyami, without making it obvious they're after UA students. At least what's left of the place. I want to say they would have been transferred to a different hero high school. Now, with that, actually, yeah, that does make sense. I want to say they were transferred to that other high school where you had that wind guy. I want to say he's actually hanging out there with them. Yeah. And this is whenever Deku, he would just see both of them. The guy would immediately be talking to Tokuyami as he sees something gleam out of the corner of his eye. He immediately turns his head as he sees someone duck into that alley. and begin running. He would immediately just give chase as Deku. He would basically be waiting there, at the edge of the alley on the other side. He would just say that he doesn't want no trouble, just don't hurt him. And the guy would be just slowly approaching him, and he just says he's not gonna hurt him. Kirishima would just immediately come around the corner, socking him in the jaw, breaking it. As they would just pull him back in. 5 minutes later, Tokoyami, he is still waiting as he would just start walking to the alley too. As soon as that happens, he would just look down and see that he dropped what he was drinking. We should get back with everyone else. We aren't supposed to leave in group. As Deku immediately just puts his hand up to his throat, saying, "Long time no see, Tokoyami. Now, before I start, summon Dark Shadow or scream and you will die instantly." Don't call me that. You know what to call me now, correct? A proper name. King Nothing? Yes. In fact, that sounds a lot better. Now, I'm going to be doing you a little favor. What are you talking about? Trust me, Tokoyami, he really is. As Kirishima would just reveal himself holding this dude. Kirishima? You should have known. Alright, well, let's go. As Deku would immediately just start hopping back to the warehouse. In fact, I would say he would fly, but that would get too much attention. Now, they would eventually get back as Tokoyami, he would see quite a bit of people. Mina. As he is trying to control his emotions, Dark Shadow is summoned, somewhat taking over his body for a minute. Mina would have immediately just put an end to it just by socking the hell out of Dark Shadow. Now, with that, Tokoyami, he's still very mad and in tears about everyone who's basically been killed. As he would hear Momo's voice, he would just see Momo and he's very confused and in shock. As he just starts shouting that she's with the League also. Are you serious? As he would just say, no actually, she's not. We just brought her back. Brought her... What? Yes, I have an ally who can bring things back. In fact, he doesn't do just that. He completely overhauls the entire thing. Along with my quirk. Deku immediately just holds up his hand, and he just erases Tokoyami's quirk for 1 hour. Ugh, that is exhausting. Now I see why people don't use these so much. Boss, what do you want? Well, Midoriya, what do you want me to do with this guy? As Deku would just say, take him to All for One. See what kind of quirk he has. He, of course, did get into the hero course. Now, Tokoyami, do you want your quirk? What are you talking about? Dark Shadow, do you really like it? Do you really want it? Like I did say on the news report before Kirishima torched them, we have an ally who can take quirks. I mean, look at Shinsho over here. As you just see, Shinsho just raises his hands up and the explosion begins popping. Quite amazing, isn't it? In fact, I have 5. But with the way they're piled together into my body, they're only registered as 3. Now, do you really want Dark Shadow? Because I have an ally who can take him from you. He just doesn't know how to answer. And he would just whisper yes, as he gets knocked out. Good. Take him to All for One. Now, with that, he would be taken to All for One and have Dark Shadow ripped out of his body. He would then be thrown somewhere across town with his memory erased. With that, the air guy and the wind guy, or they're the same person actually, he would have woken up and he would have immediately tried to basically mess with Wind Presser around All For One. Deku would just see this quirk and he's thinking, huh, well, if it isn't my lucky day. The dude would immediately turn around and he just sees Deku standing there in the doorway. Ah, new quirk for me. All For One ripped the quirk out of him as Deku would just kill him. Now, with that, All For One would give Kirishima the new quirk, along with giving Deku this guy's wind quirk. As that mixing around with the other quirks in his body, he now has one quirk that is made up of 3 quirks. The original was a speed quirk, the other one was the ability to manipulate air, turning it into somewhat speed and strength. But you had a physical limitation to your body. Now Deku has the ability to manipulate that air and actually do what he can with it. That would actually boost himself up a little bit more. Now, Deku finds it quite fitting, as the next day they would be training. Deku quite literally has no idea what he's doing. He just does one thing whenever Tokoyami does one thing. Kirishima just shows off Dark Shadow. And Dark Shadow just keeps messing with him and he's very annoyed. For the last time, I'm not getting you a chimichanga. But I need them. Fine. Jesus. You're eating it though. But because of that, we're having protein for dinner. No. Can you ever do anything useful? As he would just punch Kirishima in the face. Now, Kirishima would just harden as he would basically be sparring off with Dark Shadow. I want to say this was actually built his own stamina. But not just that. Eventually, over time, Deku getting used to his new quirk and Mina constantly training, along with the fact that she also does love training Deku, as they can get a bit rougher than they can with anyone else. Basically meaning that they don't try and hold back with one another. Now, with that, I do want to say, Deku, he would do one thing, as he's learned how to do the air cannon overhaul can do, but it's a bit different. Whenever he does open up his hands, he's able to actually form not just tornadoes, but basically he's able to fly now with the air, and he's actually able to control it even better. Since now he has full control over anything that involves oxygen. Now, with that, I do want to say he'd be able to do one thing. He'd be able to immediately hold his hand out, and just like how, if you guys have ever seen in Dragon Ball, Goku can do that thing where he immediately just throws a punch out in front of him, and the pure shockwave from it can basically knock someone out. I want to say Deku would be able to do that type of ability. But he could take out an entire wall. Yeah. And that's just the fact that Goku, he did that against someone who had above strength, so stronger than a normal human. He could probably kill someone with that thing. Now, with that, Deku and Mina, they would basically be training, and Deku, I wanna power scale him at about 40%, around 50% of one for all, with his intense training and his quirks and skill. That's overall together. Kirishima with Dark Shadow and Ibarra's quirk. He is better up there with basically amped defense and offense. Because he can cover his body in the hardened thorns, then Dark Shadow can be worn as an extra layer of armor. Now, they would finally produce results for the bullets, and Deku would actually just load one up into his chamber one day. Deku, he always learned that if you could not use your quirks, have a gun. As he would basically just load it into a chamber, and he would present it to Overhaul. But whenever he walks into the room, Overhaul is looking at Deku, holding the gun. He immediately just somewhat just says, "Come on now. You really don't think a gun's gonna kill me? Trust me, I know a gun wouldn't kill you," as Deku would just basically flip the gun around, handing it over to Overhaul. These are the bullets. Overhaul would immediately pick up the gun from Deku's hand and just fire it into the wall. As the bullet goes through the wall, he just says that that was just a regular bullet, wasn't it? You were just lying to, as the wall immediately just begins to start decaying and burst into dust. Well, that's quite unexpected. I didn't expect you guys to get results to me so fast. We have a good doctor. Now, what exactly are your rewind or your bullets made out of? Well, I do believe I was going to have to let you in on the grand scheme sooner or later. As Overhaul would just basically pull back the curtain, revealing Aerie sitting there with, well, needles and things poked into her arms, extracting blood from her body. Deku's horrified, but he just holds back his disgust. "So, you use her quirk to do this?" "Yes, actually. The process is mostly painful sometimes, but I do get rid of it." "Get rid of it? How?" As Overhaul would immediately begin by showing Deku how, pulling Aerie apart and putting her back together again, which disturbs Deku deeply. Deku would leave, as whenever he does so, as soon as he comes to the portal, he immediately just is curling his fingers in a fist, as he would immediately just sock through the wall right next to him. As soon as he does so, Mina and everyone would come running up, as they're asking Deku what's wrong. "I figured out how he makes the bullets." "But boss, that's great news." "No, it's not. He pulls apart his daughter's body." "What?" "The bullets that have been used, the bullets that are in this," as he would pull out the case, "they're made from that little girl's blood," as Deku would just toss it away. "I am going to kill that son of a bitch." Momo would just watch how disturbed everyone is, as she sees Toga actually just walk over, picking these things back up, as she's still confused. If she were to basically lick this blood, what would that do to her? Would she copy that quirk, or what would happen? I'm still not following. We are going to go into Overhaul's compound, knock on his front door. If he doesn't answer, we're going to kick it down, then we're going to save that little girl. You know, as Momo would just say, you guys don't really sound like villains. You sound like vigilantes. We are. We are villains, Momo. It's just that we still have morals. And this just went over a lot of mine. What he did to bring you back was, he pulled those people apart. People? Yes, I murdered people to bring you back. Don't look so surprised. He pulled people apart by quite simply making you burst into a giant cloud of nothing. Death, whatever you want to call it. Then he pulls the molecules back together one by one. I just saw him do that to a child. And do you think I'm okay with that? As Momo would see Deku's eyes actually tearing up, she's realizing that he's actually in the right here. I hate to say this, but if it's to save a child, I'm in. But if I'm already dead, then I'll need a disguise. Touche. Can't have people think that we just faked attacking the UA. Now, that is where I'm leaving things off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. I will catch you guys in the next part.